seems to always be sitting there at the top.
I know. Would you believe me if I said that in the back of my head? I was like, oh, maybe I should take a step back from the, maybe it's being overused. And then this week is like a really heavy one. Shit. You know what? We ended with the book talk last time. And not the book talk that because I know your whole deal.
Wait, what's that?
The book TOC. That
oh,
bullshit.
Okay. I thought you said like talk, like TAL.
I did.
Okay. Oh.
But not the other book talk that you're probably familiar with.
A little bit. Every now and then I get some good recommendations.
Sure. So, but you have something in here for audiobooks, and so maybe we should just, I'm curious about what that's about.
Sure. Yeah. It's a little bit weird, but like you've probably known, I've talked about trying to get into audiobooks, now and then.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause you listen to podcasts, just not this one.
Just not this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like for whatever reason, it never really worked for me. I don't know, just the way I sort of, comprehend things, just like it's more difficult. I'd rather just, read the words, right?
Yeah.
But this past like week or so, I've been listening to an audiobook quite a lot, and I'm enjoying it. And I think it might be a result of something being wrong with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. So I read every day, and I've been reading every day for like years now. Like that's just like a constant for me. But recently, like the past, month, 2 months, I've had like some trouble, like attention issues, where after like a short period of reading, and this is not like listening to audiobooks, this is just like reading. I will sort of like lose the ability to, comprehend what I'm reading, like temporarily. Like it's very strange. Like, so I'll be reading normally, and then all of a sudden, I guess the best way to sort of describe it is like, it's almost like I'm reading and it's almost like there's a screen door that comes down. Not visually, not like it's not affecting my eyes or anything, but like a screen door that's like a barrier to comprehension.
Yeah.
Where I'm
like your eyes kind of unfocus.
Yeah, like I can obviously still read the text, but there's like a barrier to actually like comprehending what I'm reading somewhat. Like I'm faced with like two options when that happens, right? I can either power through it, and just like try and keep reading maybe a little bit slower. It's just not fun. Or I'll set the book down and do something else and wait for that to pass. And this like phenomenon seems like it's happening more and more frequently. And I don't really know what's causing it, but so I decided, let me mix things up and I'll try out an audiobook. And I have no issues there. I've been really enjoying that as like a medium and like an alternative.
Let me ask you this: is it a case where like you're almost reading on autopilot, but not like absorbing what you're reading? Like your eyes just kind of keep going along with the text?
No, it's more like a sensation that goes along with it. It's like I can feel it coming. This sort of like this like barrier, this like glass door that you can like kind of see through, but it sort of obscures things. If that makes sense. But no, I'm very much a like a conscious reader. Like I'm never like, if I ever find my attention drifting, I will very quickly like correct that and like maybe jump back to the start of the paragraph or whatever. Like that's something that's quite distinct from this issue I'm having.
I see.
Yeah, I don't know. It's strange. Like I feel like this goes hand in hand with my inability to really maintain any like investment in like TV series lately. Just like a very short attention span overall. But reading has always been that one thing where it's like, oh yeah, I can do this whenever.
Right.
You have to be in the mood sometimes to watch like a series or do any number of things. But for me, it's like reading is, oh yeah, I'm up for that. Right.
Sure.
And I still am. Like I get into it and then this happens after like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. Like not every time, but frequently enough where it's a real disruption. So I don't know.
I hate to say it, but I feel like the TikTok might be to blame.
I felt like you would look in that direction.
Yeah, for your shortening attention span.
Yeah, there's something to that. I don't use TikTok nearly enough to like point it out as the main culprit. It could definitely be like a contributor. I think if anything, it's these damn repetitive sports video games that I play.
Oh, okay.
For quite a long time. Like in one sitting, I'll be on that I'll be like hyper focused on that, right? So if anything, that might be negatively affecting my my ability here. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. But yeah, like audiobooks are great. I've always loved the concept of them.
Yeah.
And I've now found a scenario where I'm actually enjoying them, which is nice because I can go out on a walk and be listening to an audiobook, and it's wonderful.
Right. Yeah, for a lot of people, that's the only way they can, consume books. They just can't sit down and read, but they can, while they're doing chores or, commuting or whatever it is, that's how they can still, enjoy them. My reading habits are strange. I guess actually my habits in general are strange, where I guess I have to be doing multiple things at once, or like have multiple stimuli going on at once. And I don't know if that's a symptom of something. Like I don't want to label it. I don't know what it is.
Sure.
Because like I will have to have something on the TV, and I can read at the same time, or like I'll have to have music on at the same time and read. And like but like the book is the main focus, and that's what I'll be focusing on. But I still have to have something else for whatever reason. And I'm weird about that too. Like where if I'm playing a game, a lot of the times I will need a podcast, or I will need another stream going on at the same time, or I will need music going on at the same time. Unless it's like a story heavy game that I haven't experienced before, then then it's just the full game. But like we'll get to it. Like I picked up Nier again.
Right.
And so I'm on another playthrough, and so it's some stuff that I've already experienced, and so like I've got something on the TV while I'm doing that. So I don't know what that's about, but
yeah, no, I feel like a lot of people are like that. I'm the exact opposite. I'm very much like wanting to focus on one thing. The exception to that is if I'm playing one of those like repetitive video games and I have like a podcast or music going on. But even then, I often get frustrated because my focus drifts more intently on the game. And so like I feel like I'm doing the podcast or the music like not the justice that it deserves, because I'm like only like half comprehending it. So I'll even turn it off after a period of time. So I'm very much like focused on one thing and only that one thing, Yeah. Like I don't understand, and I'm sure most people do this, the whole like having your phone out while you're watching something. Like I've never been able to do that. Yeah.
I can only do that like I just watched this past weekend. I watched the new season of The Boys, which is a show that like I enjoy, but I don't really think it's like that great. And so like I played RuneScape while I watched the entire thing.
Okay.
And like I didn't feel like I was really missing out on anything, because I really didn't think it was that good, and actually I thought it was a gigantic step down from the previous season. And so like I didn't really feel that badly about it. But normally when I'm watching something, that's what I'm doing, is watching that thing. Like if like we've talked about like how that's the test, is like if I reach for my phone while I'm watching something, then that's like a really bad sign.
Yeah.
But like that's the kind of show where it's like, it's whatever. I can do something else while I'm watching it.
What I do, what I am guilty of, though, is with my like drifting attention span, I will be watching something and then I'll want to like look something up, on my phone or whatever. But I will always pause when I'm watching.
Yeah.
Like I can almost never get through a film at home just like straight through. Like that's just never gonna happen. Like if I'm watching a movie that's like an hour and a half long in real time, it's usually like 2.5 hours before I actually see the end of it. So I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, this is the DeadEndRoad show.
It is.
Episode 63. I wanted something different to sort of open with, and that provided it, I guess. Because we have somewhat of a pact, did it all for the Moogle, which is our segment where we go into... It started as a Final Fantasy XIV bullshit segment that I could just rant about. And now it's sometimes we talk about anime criticism or other JRPGs and other bullshit. It's usually Persona. It's usually Persona at this point. And so let's dive into that. Beautiful. So you probably saw a little bit of this online because it was kind of hard to escape it. So there was a potential Nier Automata secret that was discovered and posted onto Reddit. Of a hidden area, like sort of late into the game, that nobody had ever seen before. And nobody could figure out how this area had popped up. And the circumstances for it were very strange, and the context surrounding it even more so. And so Nier Automata came out in 2017, and it is now going to be released pretty soon. Maybe it might be like in the next couple months or in the fall, coming out onto the Switch for the first time. So that sort of information is in the back of everyone's head. Like, hey, is this a PR stunt?
Sure.
Sort of thing, or is this like an ARG kind of thing? Because nobody could access this. And on the Reddit posts that the original person was making, they originally said, how can I get into the church? And people on the forum were saying like, well, what do you mean? What church? You got to be more specific. Like, and then they finally posted photos, and people were like, well, we've never seen that area. Where is this? What are you talking about? Then they posted a video, and nobody had ever seen it, and it sort of went crazy and viral. And then they explained that they were on PS4.
Did I see potentially unpatched offline version too?
Yes. They were saying that they were their PlayStation was offline and wasn't connected to the internet, and so like people had to explain to them how they can even take screenshots and get them off of the PlayStation, because they were taking photos and video on a phone originally, and so people are like trying to walk them through. Their English is like kind of broken, so they're not sure if like it's their second language or they just can't type that well, or if they were even a kid. They mentioned something about their mom. The other thing was that their name is Sad Futago.
Yeah, I translated it to see if it would provide any like context or maybe a hint at some sort of like meaning, some clues here, which is just sad twins, right?
Yes. So it apparently means, Futago apparently means twins in Japanese. And that's like a whole can of worms in Nier. It's like twins. Yeah, especially Replicant.
Okay. That's
that
the
was like
the prequel game, right?
Yeah. So that was like a whole thing where people are like, okay, this feels like an ARG, like, you know. And so then people are like, oh, this feels like a mod, you know. This seems like somebody made this up. It's like it's a really good mod, but like, yeah. But then like people from the modding community came out and said, yeah, we can't make this. We don't have the tools available to make this. The most we can do is like costume swaps, weapon swaps, and like game rebalancing. We cannot create like environments or like movable environments. There's part of the environment in the video where like basically like church steeples are like jutting in and out of the environment, that like through this secret door that they walk through. And they're like, yeah, this is way too advanced. They're like, you'd need a dev kit, you'd need the Havoc engine. They're like saying all this shit. Like, we can't do this. There's no way. This is so far beyond like what we could do. And so this sets everything ablaze. They're like, okay, this has got to be, you know, a tease for something. So Nier is a spin-off of a series called Drakengard. And the last game, Drakengard 3, was, I think, like 2008 or something like that, maybe 2010, for the PlayStation 3. Drakengard 1 and 2 were PS2 games. And the Nier series is so ridiculous. Like, you have to play it several times to get all the endings and like to get the full story. And Drakengard's even crazier. So like Nier is a spin-off of one of the specific endings from the original Drakengard.
Okay.
Where certain events happen.
Sure.
And Nier Automata is a sequel to one of the specific endings in Nier Replicant, where certain events happen. It's crazy.
So, like, if you were to just, like, play the game straight through, right? There's just a very small chance that they would make actual, like, sense in terms of, like, continuity.
Well, if you play Nier and Nier Replicant and Nier Automata, you get a story.
Okay.
You get a beginning and end. There's just I picked up based on this like craziness. I was like, damn, I should really play Nier again. So I picked up Nier Replicant again, and it had been a year. I checked my saves. It had been I finished the first route last May, so it had been over a year. And the way that one works is you pick up Route B basically from the halfway mark of that game, like whenever you load up that save. And now all of a sudden you're getting different cutscenes before boss fights, and you're in the head of certain boss enemies, and they're giving you more context to like what their backstory was and what happened to them and like why they're so angry, and you're getting the past of your party members that you didn't get, and you're getting like novelizations that like you just didn't get when you first played the game. And then at the end, you get a different ending. And then you're supposed to work your way through until you get to ending E. And that is supposed to be this drastically different playthrough and ending.
Oh, interesting.
That's supposed to change the entire experience. And I'm not there yet, so I don't know. And it's the same for Automata, but Automata has a ton of endings. Automata has like a ton of joke endings. Like you take out the plug-in chip and you die immediately because that's like your life. That's like your brain.
Sure.
And there's a bunch of those like that. So you can play the game, start the first route and get a story, and you could be satisfied, and that's how a lot of people experience it and don't even know that there are multiple endings or anything.
Well, how long is that first route?
So Replicant, I really took my time because I do that. So it took me like 26 hours. But that was like really inflated. So like I was looking online and it should take you like 16.
Okay, that's actually a reasonable amount that you would expect from a like action / RPG type of game.
Yeah.
Like a complete game, right?
Yeah. And so now in this second playthrough, estimates was like 5 to 6. And it will only take me like a couple more hours, and I just picked it up last night. And so like I'll finish B, and I assume the rest of them will be a similar length. So like by the end, it's going to be like maybe like a 50-hour like experience altogether.
Yeah.
Where was I in this story? Yeah. So these the mod community is like we can't do this. This is far beyond anything we can do. So everybody's convinced that it's some sort of tease for like a Drakengard remaster. And the other thing that you have to keep in mind is that Final Fantasy XIV had the Nier crossover raid series in Shadowbringers, which that's the way it was billed. It was billed as the actually like a Nier Automata crossover raid series. But by the end of it, it was actually a Nier Replicant / Drakengard crossover raid series.
Okay.
Because that's kind of what Yoko Taro, who's the director of Nier, and he designed the raid, he kind of does. Like, he just kind of fucks with everything. And that's why this is not out of the realm of possibility for something that could happen. So by like in the final raid series, that's a Nier Replicant raid, but the end is basically mimicking one of the endings of Drakengard. And I really don't know a lot about Drakengard, but like I know that much because it's one of the endings that causes Nier. I think. And so then people are like there's a lot of signals pointing to like, hey, Drakengard remake, Drakengard remaster now. Based off of that happening, and now this sort of ARG thing. So then this Sad Futago posts a video of them, like before it was like snippets of them going into this area, and then like the video stops. Now they go in and explore. And there are objects and things in this little church area that are basically from Nier Replicant that you know that don't belong in Automata.
Okay.
It is at this point that the modders start looking at this like 540p video with a comb, and then come out with a 14-page document debunking Sad Futago as being, you know, legitimate in what they were saying about them finding this area and asking for help, trying to get their friend to get there too. And so they go into like there's a model there, and they said this was taken directly from Replicant and backported into Automata's engine. There's a statue that was taken from Replicant. They said that Sad Futago is claimed to be using a base PS4 non-slim. However, analysis of the gameplay, both the early TV screenshots / videos and direct recordings, appear to show that Nier has aliasing akin to that of a PS4 Pro or PC.
Oh, wow. This is very, very detailed here.
Yeah. While this doesn't directly disprove the video, it is worth noting that in one of the early TV videos, a PS4 can be seen almost out of frame at the bottom, cabled and with a visible rounded corner. Due to the PS4 Pro having a near squared off corner, this can only be either a base PS4 or a PS4 Slim. Another important detail of note is that there appears to be a router directly under the TV, the white cable potentially being an Ethernet cable connecting to PS4 to said router, which proves Sad Futago's claim that the PS4 has no internet access. The area appears to lack ambient occlusion compared to the rest of the map, though they are also lit in real time. They're just like going, this is 14 pages of this.
Yeah, this is wild. This is some real detective work.
They're going in about how the arrow icon for item pickups has been disabled, which is only something you can do with mods.
That's pretty damning right there. Because that's just like, that's impossible on a PS4.
And it has, and so a lot of this was compiled by a person named Lance McDonald, who previously is known as the person that found Nier Automata's quote-unquote last secret, which was basically a series of inputs that can be done in the tutorial that take you to the end of the game. And I believe that was found last year, and Yoko Taro confirmed that was the game's last secret. So they were compiling a lot of this because they were also very confused.
And also, that's somebody who has something to lose here. Because if this is legitimate, then this Lance McDonald no longer has the title of finding the final secret, right? I saw there were some comments made by developers, right?
Yes. So, of course, everybody was going to ask Square, who published Nier Automata and Replicant, and the game's producer, Yosuke Saito, replied, he just said, told fans to calm down and buy the Switch version, which didn't really help. That didn't help. Yoko Taro, who he never gives answers. He doesn't say anything. He said that his response is in his Twitter profile, which says, I can't answer about any products. Please ask publisher. And a Square Enix rep told Games Radar said that it can't comment, which also didn't help.
So there might as well not have been any response from the development
pretty much
the publisher.
Pretty much. Yeah. They could have immediately snuffed this out by saying, yeah, this is nuts.
Which, is there anything to say, if the fact that they didn't do that, does that sort of lean towards it being
the fact that they
legitimate?
Didn't? Yes. To the conspiracy-minded, yes. Yeah, I would say so.
Because you don't want to even, if it's not something you created, I mean, you don't even want to leave it hanging, right?
But also, it is providing a lot of buzz for your 5-year-old game.
Yes, it is good marketing.
Yeah.
For sure.
It really, it made me pick up the game again.
I mean, here we are, talking about it. And, if we're talking about it, that it's really going to take off.
Sure. Yeah. So they continued to tease things. At a certain point, it became clear that Sad Futago knew what they were doing. They sort of dropped the facade of the bumbling guy that doesn't know how PlayStation works.
And doesn't have the internet.
And doesn't have internet, and started posting screenshots with letters that spelled out the word Zero, which was the protagonist from Drakengard 3.
Oh boy.
And then they posted another one with the caption Zinnia, which is some other kind of Drakengard reference that I don't know. Then they posted another. They updated their Reddit profile to link to a Twitch page, and people were sort of like, "Okay, all right, this is either going to be like something amazing, or this was just self promo."
Sure.
And then they updated their biography to say in Japanese, "Not an ARG, not official." And then they went live on Twitch early this morning. Like we're talking like 4 a.m.
Oh, I haven't heard about this.
They broadcast themselves, and this is from Lance McDonald who watched the live stream. Broadcast themselves playing through a lengthy new scenario taking place both new and existing areas before thanking the mod developers for their work and community for the hype. The stream ended with a very heartfelt thank you to the community, highlighting a lot of the best hype moments across social media and mainstream news websites, and a lighthearted apology for any potential frustration along the way. The broadcast clarified that everything shown was in-engine and indeed was the work of extremely talented modders doing things the community thought were not possible. And then they sort of ended with another thank you page and said that over the following days, we'll be releasing the new Blender add-ons and scripting tools completely open source. We have so much more in store for you. We will be releasing the mod files. If you'd like to finally enter the church yourself, keep an eye out for more.
I mean, this is a more engaging rollout than most like real game publishers could dream of having.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, this is pretty good stuff.
Of course, a lot of people are disappointed. They thought it was going to be something official, some kind of. Some people thought it'd be a sequel. The diehards thought it would be a Drakengard remaster. But yeah, it's pretty cool that, the mod community was like, no, there's no way. This isn't possible without a dev kit. Some were saying that it had to be a dev or former dev, having some fun. Right. Like that had the tools available to them. And no, it's I don't want to say amateurs, but like, hobbyists, that, have the capacity to do this. So, yeah.
So is the community excited for like the release of these like mods?
I'd imagine, yeah. There's a lot of people that area looks so cool. That's insane. Yeah, but there are a lot of disappointed people.
Sure.
At least I feel like this was only a few days. I think if it had dragged out much longer, people's patience would have worn thin.
Yes. I do like the how it started out with just a single post on Reddit, right? Naively asking for help, like just like planting that seed and just assuming that it'll blow up because of what they had, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, they played it perfectly, really.
I mean, intentionally making I'm assuming they intentionally made the video low res as well. Yeah.
They definitely did like the off-screen phone recording on purpose. Yeah. I'm sure they had a lot of that prepared ahead of time. Like they wouldn't have, A
lot of wasted time for Lance McDonald, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, maybe not, like what, he was just keeping up with it, right? He wasn't like,
Sure. But hey, still has the record, still has the title.
True.
So
that's true. And the 14-page Google Doc is now a 15-page Google Doc because the head of it now says, we all got bamboozled, GG, which is quite nice. Although I don't know if that's true because they were sort of right.
Yeah, no, they broke it down. They sort of it was the opposite. They cracked the case.
Yeah, like their conclusion at the bottom was it is unlikely to be cut or pre-release content. So I don't know if they got bamboozled.
No, I don't think so. The only people who got bamboozled were the ones who were saying like this is impossible in the modding community.
Right. So I think. Well, they do say that whether it is mod created using official dev tools /SDK or custom toolset is yet to be 100% confirmed, though the latter is likely, given specifics such as the church's cutscene lack of interpolation. So, like, yeah, they were they were right.
Yeah.
So I think they're being quite hard on themselves.
Yeah.
I think they got it.
I mean, maybe they're referring to the sort of the near community at large, right? Because there was a lot of speculation.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I think it sparked a lot of interest in Nier. You know, I think a lot of people that hadn't played the games that saw all this buzz might jump in, especially with the Switch version coming out, which will probably not run very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what Square does. Like, I guess it's up to the individual studio and not the publisher themselves, because like Nier is like an official port, but the Kingdom Hearts collection was one of those cloud versions for the Switch,
right?
Which seems weird. You think Kingdom Hearts would be okay on the Switch?
Yeah, because those were originally like
PS2 games.
Yeah,
and then they were also on PS3. and then eventually. So yeah, I keep saying it, but I don't suspect that Nier is going to run very well on the Switch. But I don't know, maybe
pretty safe bet.
Yeah.
I played quite a bit of Nier Automata a couple years ago. I was really enjoying it. I never finished it because that's just me.
Sure.
I did go back to it briefly earlier this year, and I got frustrated because I played like 40 minutes of it and then died, and then had to start at the very, very beginning again because there's that very long sequence that you can't save. And so I was just kind of like reacquainting myself with like the controls and how everything worked, and
Well, now you got to use the Lance McDonald skip.
Oh, what's that?
It's in the tutorial. You got to use the tutorial skip that he found. That's the last secret.
Oh, that's the secret. All right.
Yeah, you could skip right to the end.
Okay, that's not exactly what I was. I wanted to actually experience the game, but no, that was just like I was just annoyed in the moment. I would return to.
Yeah, it's very good. But that's what I want to do. Now that I want to finish the routes in Replicant, and now I want to go back to Automata.
Yes.
So,
because Replicant did come out first, right?
Yeah.
It's been re-released on like the current consoles, but it was originally like the first game.
Okay, yeah. So technically, there were two versions
of
the original Nier.
Nothing's ever simple with.
No. So there was Nier Gestalt and Nier Replicant. And Gestalt was the version for, I guess, it was for Europe and North America. And then Replicant was for the Japanese audience.
I see.
And the difference is the protagonist.
Oh.
I guess it's the protagonist and kind of the story. The protagonist is in Gestalt is an older version of the character Nier, and he's looking for his daughter. And in Replicant, the version of Nier is much younger, and he's looking for his sister.
Huh.
Yeah. And so another possibility people thought was, since there are Replicant references in the church, is this maybe like DLC for the older version of Nier? Like, would that be something that they would release? But because a lot of people, that was the version that they had originally played. They hadn't played Replicant, and so they wanted to see that remastered, and it hasn't been. The original reasoning was the audiences, like the Japanese audiences used to like shonen protagonists, so like younger characters, and they thought like for the marketing, they thought that a more older grizzled protagonist would work better for Western audience.
Right.
So that's how that happened. But yeah, so that game was had two versions.
Interesting.
Yeah. But anyway, while we're here, and speaking of games split in half, and okay. All right. Where to begin? Persona 2. Persona 2 is another game that has two versions, but it has one edition and a sequel, essentially. I've probably talked about this before, but it has Persona 2 Innocent Sin and Persona 2 Eternal Punishment. Originally released for the PlayStation 1. Originally, they were both translated and localized for the PlayStation 1. Then, I guess about 10 years ago, 2012, they received remastered ports for the PSP. The only problem was only Persona 2 Innocent Sin was translated and localized for the West into English. So Eternal Punishment, the game's sequel, was never translated from like the PSP version.
Right.
So the only way you could play it was the PS1 version. And the PSP port has improved menus, higher quality sprites, higher quality music, and it also has an additional scenario of one of the main characters. And so that was never localized in English, and so there was just no way to play it.
Did it involve a church?
To my knowledge, no. But I mean, I haven't been able to been able to play it because it wasn't in English.
Just wondering.
So it was never translated, and for a very long time there has been a it's either like a solo effort or a small group of independent translators that have been working on it, and they've been working on the translation for a very, very long time. I'm talking since maybe 2013.
Yeah, we're seeing some really dedicated fan bases here today.
Yes. And they've been working for a very long time on this. And people have been following them working on it for a very long time. And progress has been very slow. Updates on the translation sort of stopped in about 2017 and only picked up again in the past couple years.
Pandemic time?
Yeah, kind of. And even so, the sort of head of the translation team doesn't really give specific updates and doesn't ever say like whenever something is going to be released. And so a lot of people get very, very frustrated with this team and this person in particular. And we'll talk about that.
Is this is this funded in any way, or is this simply just like fans doing it, like organizing on their own and just and doing this in like their own time?
This is just fans doing it on their own time.
Okay.
Now, this past week, I believe it was the 26th. So what was that? That was Tuesday.
Breaking news.
Tuesday was the protagonist of Persona 2 Innocent Sin's birthday.
Okay.
Now, you might think that's weird, and it kind of is.
Well, no, because like, did Persona 2 have a calendar in it, like the more recent games where you know everybody's birthday?
No.
Oh, okay.
So there's a weird thing in sort of like the anime community where I guess it comes from like the like promotion side where like you'll see like Crunchyroll just like tweet out like a character's like happy birthday to like some character from an anime. Mm-hmm. And to me, it just works as a way to promote that whatever show that is.
Yeah.
And so like Atlas does it too for the Persona cast. So they'll tweet like, oh, happy birthday, Futaba, you know, and like, you know, it promotes the game. Like I don't why would you know an anime character's birthday? That's
unless it was like mentioned in the story. Right.
Because otherwise, to me, that's weird. Like actually, truly, like if you know an anime character's birthday. Mm-hmm. But like that's something that happens. So Tuesday was Tatsuya's birthday, and Tatsuya, it's his scenario that's in Eternal Punishment, like this content that was not translated into English. And so on Tuesday, out of nowhere, a translated version of the PSP version of Eternal Punishment drops out of nowhere.
Oh my goodness. This is big. This is big news.
Out of nowhere. And, you know, people went crazy. Like, wait, first of all, people are like, is this legit?
Sure.
because people have been waiting a decade for it.
And yeah, it's amazing if it is legit, it's amazing to have people wait a decade and then stealth drop it.
Yeah. And then they're like, wait, is this from the team that's been working on it for so long? And the answer to those questions are, 1, yes, it's legit. And 2, no, it's not.
Oh, they got beat.
I
mean, that's not too surprising, is it?
It's not necessarily surprising. So this is where things kind of get interesting. Because the person from the original team, and I don't know if this is probably an alias, CJ Iwakura, tweeted out, "I'm as surprised as anyone, but this is someone who was working with us and went AWOL."
Oh no.
So that immediately makes everyone think, oh, did they steal the project? Mm-hmm. Did they steal it and release it under their own? First, I don't know their pronouns. I think it's he, him. At first he was like, is it stolen? And he's like, your guess is as good as mine. Cause you kind of have to go through the code and, play it to see, if it is, I guess, if your work's been stolen. So then he tries it and says, I can confirm that my saves work between versions. He's like, I used my save from our work in progress build and this release. And then there's an update, and he says, in the interest of transparency, I've seen it said that this patch doesn't use any of our work, so nothing is stolen that I know of. The only real damage done is to our team's morale, since none of us knew about this and are sad we couldn't have been kept in the loop.
So morale is down a decade later. I mean, that's,
Yeah, but they were continuing to work on it, I guess.
I guess so.
Yeah. And the next day they posted an update on their website, basically canceling their version of the translation.
Oh, wow. So this version, the version that was released this week, it's like a full translation and everything works properly.
Full translation, fully functional. It's not like, a work in progress.
Wow.
It's completely finished.
It is a bummer for those who were working on it throughout the years.
Yeah.
But at the same time, nobody has ownership over a project like this, right? Especially if nothing was taken.
So that's the other thing. I don't really know how the translation community and things like this work. So they basically wanted a heads up that another team was working on this.
That's fair.
I don't know if that's necessarily to pool resources or maybe work together, or to even just say hey, we're also doing this, don't waste your time, or what. Some people think that they were the original team was sort of staking a claim. That's why they sort of started working on it so early, even if they had no intention of finishing it soon. To sort of be don't work on that because there's already a team working on it. So I don't really know how this community works and what the etiquette is. Because you look around, at least that I've seen, for translated works, and there are multiple translations for things.
Right.
Not even just games, these are all unofficial, right? So unofficial translations for lots of things. There are lots of versions. For fan subs for anime and manga and light novels. There are lots of unofficial translations. And it does seem weird that you would stake a claim and say hey, nobody else can work on this, and we're the gatekeeper of this project and nobody else can attempt it.
Yeah, and especially if they were not prepared to complete the project. Which it sounds like they weren't for whatever reason. Yeah,
so they explained that there was one of the members of the team is in Russia, and so there was constant communication hurdles there. Mm-hmm. They were one of the coders, I believe. And there's a lot of ups and downs with them even living in Russia. So they were I guess maybe not the most consistent and stable, able to work on it as much.
Sure.
So the other side of this is that as soon as this translation dropped and it was confirmed that it wasn't this original team, a ton of people were oh yeah, fuck that other guy and his team. He took too long.
Okay.
Literally, fuck him.
Oh, I mean that's not nice.
And it's Jesus. These are people that are working for free.
Yeah, this is a hobby.
To bring you something that you desperately want to play.
And aren't paying for.
This is purely in the truest sense of the phrase for the love of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing is you could argue maybe they strung fans along for a number of years, but even then it's okay, but still it's not. Right. It's just a hobby for it's not, you're not paying any money or anything.
Right. They did not ask for donations or anything. They didn't scam anybody.
Yeah, this is not a failure of a crowdfunded thing.
Right. Not at all. Not in the slightest. It was just, they just probably started working on it too early and couldn't commit to it. Like that's kind of it. And then another group got impatient and had the ability to finish it.
Sure.
And that's what happened. And so now people can play it.
Are you gonna be playing?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I figure. Why did I even ask that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the other thing, this is really exciting because earlier in the month, there was a translation that dropped for Shin Megami Tensei If, the PlayStation 1 version. Mm-hmm. And that's really exciting because that was originally a Super Nintendo game.
Oh, wow.
And Shin Megami Tensei If is the game that basically inspired the Persona spin-off series. It was the first SMT game to take place in a high school, and it sort of has the precursor to the Persona system, and it just has a very cool vibe. It's basically a version of Persona 1.
And I think there's a scene where Carl Jung shows up, right?
Close, yeah. Well, you don't. The problem is that you don't even know about Shin Megami Tensei because Stephen Hawking is a character. So like,
oh,
you don't even know how close that is to.
Oh, okay, that's surprising.
You don't even know.
Wow.
So yeah, but the PlayStation 1 version obviously has higher quality sprites. And the music is so much better. Oh my God, is it so much better? Holy
better
shit.
As in like it's been changed or it's just like been up-resed, like it's better quality like sound.
It's better quality. I think it's like the same songs, but like they're like not like 16-bit or whatever the Super Nintendo is. And actually I use some of that music for like stream openings sometimes whenever I decide to stream. Mm-hmm. Just because one, it can't get flagged because nobody's looking for Atlas music from the fucking 80s.
Yeah.
But also because it's really good. And also because a lot of people avoid working on PlayStation games, especially whenever there's already Nintendo versions. I don't know if that's due to ease of use or like the loading times or whatever, like getting around that kind of shit. But it's just really exciting. So that dropped earlier in the month. And now all of a sudden this surprise drop of Eternal Punishment out of the complete blue is just very good.
It's just a wealth of stuff.
Yeah. Like a lot of this could just be avoided if Atlas would, port things to non-dead platforms. Mm-hmm. It really is a shame that like this never got localized, in an official capacity, and that it took 10 years for fans to do it.
Well, at least the series are they're popular enough now where this type of thing probably won't happen again, right?
Yeah, it's just it's a joke that Atlas completely ignores Persona 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And that just sort of continues. Mm-hmm. Even if they were to port the PSP version of Innocent Sin to like PC, which would probably be pretty simple. Eternal Punishment would be left in the dust because it's a PS1 game, and they never localized it, and they probably wouldn't decide to localize a PSP game and then port that to PC. Like they wouldn't go through that effort. Like
sure.
they just wouldn't. I know they wouldn't. They had to be dragged kicking and screaming to get Persona 3 portable to modern platforms. They're not going to do that for Persona 2. They're just not. I know they're not. I'd love to be proven wrong. I would love it, but they're not going to do it. I know they're not. They're too busy selling, merch basically. Mm-hmm.
Well, this project is great then.
It is. But it also does show how shitty the SMT fan base is in general.
Yes.
Like a huge chunk of the response to this fucking gift being dropped was to say fuck the other guy immediately. Like oh my god. Like it's really why I actually hate SMT and Persona fans. Like I really do. Like I don't you'll laugh at me, but I don't consider myself.
Well, I mean, it's it's the fans that are vocal on like social media forums and stuff.
Yeah, there are so many SMT fans that are just whiny edgelords, and you call me what you want, but Yeah, it's just a lot of weird edgelord weebs that are given a massive gift, a game that we have not been able to play at all, and they say fuck fuck that guy, he was a piece of shit, blah 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 blah. Like, Jesus.
Mm-hmm. So ungrateful.
We could have never had this. We would be stuck playing the PS1 version, which is basically unplayable, because I tried to play that. I tried to play it after I finished Innocent Sin, and the menus are awful. It drags the combat down. It's basically unplayable. I
mean, I believe it. Like, if you couldn't get through it, that pretty much speaks to it being unplayable.
So, but yeah, this was the big news this week, and we've been in a very long Moogle, so we should probably get out of here.
I did have something about everyone's favorite reality TV show.
Okay.
No, I wanted to include this because it's like an update to what I was talking about a couple weeks ago. I think it was on the live stream.
Right.
Where I was talking about this current season of Big Brother and how much of a disaster it was for the first couple weeks.
Yeah, and now it's been saved, right?
It has.
Oh God,
I know you were saying that sarcastically. No, I wanted to share this. So I was talking a couple weeks ago about Taylor, the contestant who has been from the jump mistreated. People were constantly talking shit about her for no reason, no legitimate reason. There was racism and colorism thrown her way. There was bullying, essentially. I mean, if you want to call it what it is.
Right.
And she was, alienated. She would walk into a room and people would leave pretty quickly or turn away from her, and she wasn't given the time of day. It was tough to watch. It really, it just it ruined the experience of it was obviously much worse for her experiencing it firsthand than it is for somebody watching the show, but it sucks to watch,
Yeah.
However, there's been a development, a very interesting one, something that I don't think I've seen before. It's one of those things that as a fan of Big Brother, you always are wishing will happen, but it just never does, which is, so you have a majority alliance, right? People that are banded together and they sort of controlled the game. And then you have the outsiders who are left out of that alliance. And every season, as a viewer, you are inclined to root for those outsiders, those underdogs. And you're like, man, if they only realized the position they were in and they looked around and they, knew their position and they looked at the other outsiders and they're like, hey, we should team up because that is our only chance of actually competing in this game, then they would have a chance, right? But that just never happens. Whether they don't get the power by winning competitions or they just are deceived and they don't see the structure of the house for what it is, there could be a number of reasons. But this week that actually happens. An alliance formed of all the outside contestants, and they came together and they formed an alliance and are now in power. And that alliance includes Taylor. So what happened was basically one of the members of that big, initial majority alliance was loose-lipped and let some information slip to one of the outsiders. And so word got around about this big group that's, planning to take everybody out. And that is how all the outsiders came together and were like, okay, we need each other. We need to do this right now because otherwise we're just gonna get picked off one by one. While that's happening, the harassment and bullying of Taylor that is mostly happening behind her back becomes a very public matter because two house guests in particular confront her in front of everybody and accuse her of stuff that she didn't do. And it gets nasty, not on Taylor's end. Taylor is literally just stunned and doesn't know what's happening and ends up in tears, but it gets nasty on the part of these couple of house guests, right? So everybody sees this, they're sort of putting the pieces together. They're like, Taylor doesn't deserve this treatment that she's been getting. She's being dragged through the mud. So this alliance is forming and Taylor is part of this alliance. And so there's going to be a big blind side and there's a speech that goes along with it, right? Because it's at one of the ceremonies, the veto ceremony. And so when the head of household, who's part of this new alliance, which is named, by the way, it's called the Leftovers.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're the leftover.
Yeah.
You get it.
Yeah.
So the head of household has has the power. He's one of the leftovers, and he calls out the treatment of Taylor in front of everybody, which I thought was really great. Because like, you know, in Big Brother, if someone's being treated unfairly, there's always that tendency for, even if you're not part of that yourself, you're usually not speaking up for the person because you don't want to, I guess, like attract any attention that could make people target you in the context of the game, right? So usually that leads to people being treated unfairly and everybody else being silent, which for a while was the case here. Like a lot of people were complicit in what was happening to Taylor just by being silent. But this week there was like this big cathartic moment where they have taken the power back. They have this group that I should mention is completely undetected by everybody else in the house. Like nobody suspects that this leftovers group is working together. And as of this recording, that remains the case. And as long as that remains the case, they can steamroll because they are very loyal to the cause and they are not causing any suspicion whatsoever. It's very impressive to watch. It's really cool. So yeah, this was like a really cathartic moment. It was a very, like, Wednesday night, the episode this past week was such a great episode because I never usually have faith in the TV show, like the production, to edit things together properly and show you the narrative as it was actually happening, right?
Yeah, we've mentioned that.
But in this case, they did a really good job. Like there was this wild juxtaposition of the two house guests that were talking shit about Taylor and eventually confronted her. They're like getting each other riled up in this other room, right? And they're talking about, before they confront her, they talk about, oh, she's not a good person. She should not be here. You know, she's a bad person. We're the good guys, right? They're talking to each other about that. And Taylor is in a different part of the house and has noticed that these two people are upset. And so she's saying, man, I don't know I have no idea what's wrong with them. I hope they're okay. I just like, let's pray for them. Let's pray that they are okay and that they will get through the issues that they're having, because one of them was crying. And so Taylor noticed that this person was crying and she has no idea why, obviously. So you have the juxtaposition of them talking shit about her in one room and Taylor literally praying for them in the other room.
Jesus.
And so the show did that side by side and captured the just the idiocy of these two people. And also this was like the first time where they truly like showed the stuff that was being said about Taylor. Like it was alluded to in the episodes, but they really had not done a good job of portraying it like for the viewer that isn't like following, you know, live feeds and stuff.
Do you think that's a response to the criticism?
I mean, there's always criticism.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like specifically.
What do you mean by the production?
Like response to them like not showing what was actually going on?
Well, in this case, it was hard to not, because it created some like tangible scenes and drama, because it did lead to a confrontation with Taylor, whereas most of the other stuff was going on like behind closed doors. Like Taylor's not even aware of half the shit that's been said about her. So this did lead to like a dramatic confrontation. I think that's the main reason it was shown.
I see.
Like it's part of the narrative, and you also can't skate around it. You can't avoid it. These people, like, they showed their true colors here, and there was no way to sort of edit around that. But yeah, long story short, Taylor is in power, and all the people I'm rooting for are now in power, whereas a few days ago they were on the outs, and it's just the thing that you hope to see and just never do. And like, as a fan of the show, it's like, it's the possibilities are always there, and it never works out, but like, it's happening, and it was truly a rough start to the season, and it's turned like a complete 180. Like if Taylor can win this game, like imagine that from what had happened to her in the very beginning, and if she can go on to win, which like as it stands, she's in a really good spot. Like it's still very early. There's like almost 2 months, you know, left in the game. But you know, she's in this alliance with 6 other people, and if everything goes according to plan, they could be the final 7. So I don't know. It's exciting. I wanted to share it because there was like an update to what I talked about a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it's it's great. I mean, it's tough because like in that same episode where you get like that cathartic like moment where everybody like comes to realize what's going on, you also have to sit through that really brutal confrontation. Like I was talking about Paloma, the person who left after having some like mental health issues, right? Like the stress of the situation and just like a combination of factors led her to leave. And she was one of the people really championing the we need to get, you know, like jumping down Taylor's throat type of thing.
Yeah.
So one of the arguments in this confrontation this week, one of the people said to Taylor that she was responsible for Paloma, what happened to Paloma and leaving the house.
I mean, I guess technically.
No, not at all. Like not at all, right? Because this person.
Well, I mean, in a cosmic sort of sense.
No, I mean, sure, there's that. Like, but really, what this person meant was like you caused her to have a mental breakdown. Like weaponizing this person's like mental health.
It's like that meme of the white lady yelling at the cat. You know that one?
I can't say I do.
All right. Well, never mind. It's the white lady yelling and the cat's just sitting there.
Uh-huh. Oh, and so like what, the cat's responsible for?
Yeah.
That's it. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's
have to explaining memes on an audio podcast it's not work.
No, but it's a similar thing. Like it was a very the Paloma and Taylor rivalry, so to speak, was very, very one-sided in that Taylor wasn't even aware it was happening. But yeah, to sort of like weaponize that and like blame Taylor for this person who left because they had like I don't know, a manic episode. It's just wild stuff, just completely off base. But yeah, it makes that Julie Chen interview from like 2 weeks ago seem even worse now.
Oh, of course.
But that kind of goes without saying.
Of course. I don't think a Julie Chen interview has ever aged well.
No, that's fair. But yeah, the fan base really needed this. People are excited. I'm excited.
You know, Big Brother delivered it for the fans, you know. That's what they're there for.
Yeah, I don't know if I give them credit as much as just like people getting their shit together in the house, but well, yeah, go Taylor. This should be the last update because I don't want to like, you know, bore anybody that's listening here, but this was like the end of like an arc, right? That I had started a couple weeks ago, so I thought I would close that and we can move on.
Sure. I think the last thing you have in here is tied to our movie slightly.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Are you the concert thing?
Yeah.
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Oh, is this a different concert thing?
I'm trying to figure out. There was no like concert in.
Yeah, but there's some people. So the Kid Cudi thing.
Oh, you know what? It does tie.
Yeah. So should we do that?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to bring this up because there were a couple of weird things I saw this week. We've actually had a number of stories over the past number of months about like crazy stuff at concerts, which I don't know if that's like has always been happening, or if it's just like a post-COVID thing where people forget what is acceptable like in society.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's going on either. So just last night, I saw footage from Dua Lipa's tour stop in Toronto. She was playing an arena show, and I guess on the like the general admission like floor section, somebody set off fucking fireworks.
How'd they get in with that?
I don't know what the Canada's security is like. That was my first question as well. But yeah, somebody set off fireworks in the middle of this arena indoors Dua Lipa show, and I don't think anybody was injured, but that's like terrifying.
We can't even blame America for this shit because there's been a couple Canadian issues. There was the Phoebe Bridgers stampede.
Well, yeah.
They're setting off fireworks.
Yep.
What was it? The Weekend was stranded. What was that thing?
Oh, there was like a Rogers Center outage or something.
Yeah. So we can't even. This isn't just an America thing.
No.
What's going on? I
don't know. And then, like you just mentioned, Kid Cudi. So he performed at the Rolling Loud Festival last weekend, and he was. I don't think initially on the bill.
No.
He was the replacement for Kanye West. Which, Just like a big sigh
who showed
for
up
me.
anyway?
Who showed up anyway?
From what I can gather.
Yes. So he was like the headliner and he canceled it, which like fine, you know, if you're an artist and you cancel a show for whatever reason, that could be valid.
Sure.
In most cases is valid, but when it comes to Kanye West, you never know. And then of course he shows up and performs a couple of songs with a different rapper, which is just like such a fuck you to like everybody.
Right.
And so Kid Cudi's the replacement for Kanye, and he's performing. He's just a couple songs in, and people start throwing like water bottles and like trash at him on stage. And so he just like, he says, stop throwing shit at me or I'm gonna leave.
He got hit in the face.
He got hit in the face, yeah?
Yeah.
So he did give a warning. He's like, stop throwing shit at me or I'm going to leave. I'm very serious about this. Like, I'm not messing around. And then as soon as he says that, somebody throws another thing at him. And so he just walks off the stage and leaves the show as he had every right to do.
Yeah.
What is this just like Kanye fans who are upset? Because there was also like I know that Kid Cudi and Kanye have worked a lot together and they were friends, but they had like a falling out earlier this year. I guess over something that Kid Cudi didn't agree with that Kanye was saying or doing. Big surprise there, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So I guess this is just like disgruntled Kanye West fans.
I think so. They wanted to see Kanye, but it's like, all right, take it up with him then.
Yeah, he's here. That's his fault.
Yeah,
throw stuff at him.
Don't
do that. I'm not condoning that, but you know what I mean. Like,
it's like, yeah, it's sort of his deal.
Yeah. So there was that. I just don't know what's happening.
It's weird. Yeah. It's like people don't know what they're supposed to be doing. Like it's either kids that don't know, like they haven't been to enough concerts or like know like how to be safe at them, or they're on the inverse. There's also the ones that are like just acting stupid at them.
And there's just assholes.
And then there's just assholes.
The big wild card, yeah.
Like there's footage of because of course people are just filming TikToks the entire time instead of just being at a concert. And like I'm not even trying to be like the like put your phone down, like old man kind of shit.
Sure.
But like if you're filming TikToks like the entire time, like
you're not really experiencing the concert.
You're there to film TikToks. Like
sure.
you're not there to actually like.
Which if it's not like disrupting anything or anybody, then fine, do what you want to do.
Well, it is whenever you like need space around you to film your fucking TikTok.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
But like there is a video of just like the guy winding up to throw the piece of trash that like finally gets Kid Cudi to leave the stage.
Christ.
I think the Pirates are going to sign him actually. To a minor league deal.
Sure.
Kind of got an arm.
Took the low hanging fruit there.
Yeah. But it's like you were like you got your girlfriend to like film the TikTok of you throwing trash at somebody. Like cool, man.
Yeah, congratulations.
You're cool.
You just deprived everybody of a performance from a great rapper.
The most sane Kanye fan. It's cool.
Yeah, and then
you
just
paid
to
money
make it
to
even
be there.
To make it even a little bit weirder, one of the couple of songs that Kanye performed with somebody else later that night was a song that also featured a Kid Cudi verse.
Of course. Yeah.
But yeah, just no fireworks. Just put your trash in the trash cans, people.
Or just drop it, like whatever. They got to sweep up all that shit anyway. I mean, it's better than fucking tossing it at people.
Sure.
Like, I don't know.
But yeah, that does relate. I had like a moment where I wasn't making the connection. But yeah, we watched the movie that we're going to talk about, and it starred Kid Cudi.
Yeah, he's in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny though, because like I was in your car last week, and you were listening to him.
You were like, "Is this Drake?"
That was a joke. I knew it probably wasn't Drake. But I was just joking.
I don't know if it's easy for you to say that now, but
that was come on, that was a clear joke.
I don't know.
Oh my God. Anyway.
But yeah.
But then I saw the thing about him getting pelted like the next day, and then we're watching this movie that he's in. Like, okay.
Collective unconscious or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. See,
whatever you like to talk about.
Now you're getting it.
Yeah.
Now you're getting it.
But yeah, so we watched Ty West's latest, X, starring the aforementioned Kid Cudi, as well as Mia Goth, Brittany Snow, Jenna Ortega. This dude that I thought for a second was like Luke Wilson, but then wasn't.
Yeah, I thought he was one of the Wilsons. I also thought he was like a lost McConaughey.
Sure.
Yeah, he was Walmart McConaughey, man.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he was good for the role, you know?
Yeah, he nailed that.
But yeah, this is Ty West's take on the sort of like Texas Chainsaw-esque slasher movie of like the, you know, the 70s or 80s with a pornography twist to it, an existential twist, I guess. So what'd you think?
It was interesting. The first half was just a porn shoot.
Yes.
So that was
yes.
That was interesting. I had to work the volume on my surround sound pretty heavily.
That's why I use headphones.
Yeah, that, you know.
I mean, is this your first Ty West directed movie that you've seen?
I think it is. Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah,
I've seen
he's
else.
very into the slow burn.
Yeah, I got that at a certain point. I was like, okay, we'll get to, you know, the horror stuff later.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't think there'd be that many you know, porn shoot scenes. I figured it was
cinematic though.
Yeah, sure. I figured once we established that they were there to shoot a porn, that, you know, like we got it.
No,
you know,
no,
we had to keep doing it.
It's called immersion.
Something was being immersed. Yeah, it was interesting. So there was like a Suspiria thing, or like a Suspiria remake thing going on.
How so?
With I guess this is, I don't know if this is spoilers. Nobody's listening at this late in the show.
Yeah,
they're not gonna sit through my Persona shit. You know it.
And then if they do survive that, they have to get through Big Brother.
Yeah, it's the Persona Big Brother Gauntlet that they gotta get through to the movie. What are we doing? So Mia Goth is playing one character, and she's also the old woman.
Yes, and in the in the next movie coming out, she will be playing the young version of the old woman.
She's the young version of the old. No, I think she's the young version of the young girl.
She is. So I'm actually referencing the prequel to X that is coming out sometime later this year. I don't know if you heard about this. There's a trailer that came out this week. The movie's called Pearl, and it's like.
I thought Pearl was the name of the young version.
No. Pearl is the serial killer old lady.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like a Suspiria thing.
Yeah.
Where Tilda Swinton was the one character, and then also that old man.
This is true.
At the end.
That's right.
And I don't really know what that's doing. Like, I kind of get it, but I kind of don't.
Yeah, no, it's meant to, like, I guess from a practical standpoint, you obviously need younger people to play these roles. And because like the creepy factor comes from the makeup effects and all that, right?
I just thought the creepy factor was the fact that she was just old.
Well, yeah, but there's old and then there's that, right? Like this is a enhanced.
Well, yeah, no, the fact that she's old and doing sex.
Sure.
That's the creepy.
Okay.
Or it's meant to be like.
No, but really what I think it was doing was it was just mirroring her character's like the envy that she had for the younger woman.
Yeah.
And like her, you know, missing those like experiences, those life experiences, you know, where she's at now. And so like, you know, mirror that by having Mia Goth play both characters.
And what, to just hammer home the point that we all get old? I
mean, that's what a large portion of like thematically was going on here, right?
Yeah, my whole feeling on it was that like the whole movie was about how much boomers suck.
I mean, okay, I guess you could take that away from it.
Yeah, because it's like they already got to live their life. Right? And they're still trying to take something away from people younger than them.
I guess my take is a little bit more sympathetic towards them then.
No, they're still trying to destroy the lives of people that haven't lived yet.
Yeah, okay, I see that. That does
Especially the scene on the dock with the blonde with Brittany Snow's character.
Oh yeah, that sort of overtly speaks to that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right.
It's like, hey, I'm trying to help you. It's like, no, you're a whole, you know, whatever, that whole dialogue.
And then she's like, you know, fuck you, bitch, and then throws her in the river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that was my takeaway.
Sure.
Was that the old people suck and need to croak.
Well, it's doing that. There are moments where it's focused on the older couple and it is somewhat sympathetic to their like internal problems that they're dealing with, for lack of a better word, right?
Yeah, and I also like it also was dealing with the hypocritical nature of boomers too, where this old bag wants to fuck anything that moves, and
but is also like a prude.
Yeah, she's also calling everybody else a whore.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like easy. You're trying to trap young women to have sex with them, and you're rubbing up on their smooth skin, and yet you're gonna call her a whore. Like, all right, okay.
Yeah.
Some good kills though.
Yeah, good kills. I thought it was a fun movie. I really enjoyed the first half. That was basically just like pornography because like it was just like interesting. Like, I don't know. It was just, there was like a rhythm to this movie with like the needle drops and the camera cuts and like those flashing images. Like you have like the three, you know what I'm talking about, right? Where they would like cut in between the previous scene and the current scene, and they do like three flashes. Like just like stylistically, there was some cool stuff going on that like I was engaged with, even just like before it turned into a like a gory.
I think
slasher.
that was supposed to mimic film, right? Like slides.
Yeah, because that's like so much of like stylistically what Ty West is about. It's like just like making his films as authentic to like that era as possible, right? Like his other one, like House of the Devil, is another one that I think is very 70s. The Innkeepers, I think, it's the one with the like the hotel, the two people working at the hotel, and it's like the ghost story. That's my favorite of his. That's very good. But they all like lean into that like era of horror. Like I guess like the real criticism you could have of his work is that it's a bit redundant, you know, because it is like kind of just like pulling from a past style, but it does it well.
Sure, yeah.
You know, it does it really well. And like, I don't know if it's really leaning into nostalgia very much, because I don't have that much nostalgia for that era of like horror film. Like I've seen a bunch of them, but I'm not really particularly more fond of like 70s and 80s horror than I am of modern horror. And yet these movies work very well for me. So
yeah, I don't know how many people that grew up in the late 70s are watching A24 movies.
True, yeah.
So I don't think it's nostalgia bait. You know,
no,
this is not Stranger Things.
No, it's very, very much not Stranger Things. It's almost like he's carved out like a niche for himself, because he's like one of the only people making this style of horror film now, you know? Not that like there aren't other like homages to that era, but like he's probably the most prominent filmmaker that makes films like this.
Yeah.
I like the tone of it because it's very funny in parts. It never takes itself too seriously. Although it can be very, very creepy, like very effective.
It ends with a joke.
It does end with a joke, a good one too.
Yeah.
It just like ties everything. No pun intended with tie. But,
sure.
But yeah, no, I was impressed with it. I don't know if I want a trilogy like we're getting.
It's going to be a trilogy?
That's what I've heard. So this next movie, this prequel, is like a World War II set film about the villain of this movie, like her origin story or whatever. And then the third movie is going to take place in the 80s, I think. And I'm not sure how it connects to like these, if it does, but that's the plan.
So then it would probably focus on the other Mia Goth character.
I mean, if you want to have Mia Goth star in all three, I'm down.
I mean, right?
Yeah, that adds up, right? I mean, there is like room for that, because like there's a reveal at the very end of the movie that sort of like adds a bit of context to her character, right?
Yeah, that's why I figured this one, the prequel, would have been that character.
Yeah, that makes sense. And this movie was 1979, so could cruise right into the 80s. Yeah, I could see that.
I just don't know if it's necessary, but
oh yeah, that's always the question, isn't it? With horror sequels and prequels and whatnot.
Yeah, I feel like we got it all.
Yes, but yeah, you're familiar with Kid Cudi now.
yeah, I am.
Maybe a bit more than you intended.
Kind of. Yeah.
There's like a silhouette scene.
Yeah, you see. Yeah. You see the shadow of yeah. Yeah,
they definitely framed that. But yeah, no, I like this. This was fun. I slashers, you know, not typically my favorite subgenre of horror, but I was really engaged with this one all the way through. I liked what they were doing with it.
Yeah. It was losing me a little bit with how agile the old woman started to be. You know, just a little bit.
I mean, I don't mind that.
But like, she was like creaky to move, and then all of a sudden she's like stalking through the house. You know what it reminded me of, and because we talked about it last week, was Death in Her Hands. Where
the Otessa Moshfegh novel, yeah.
Where that character is an old woman.
Yes.
Who by the end has purchased a military stealth suit. In her paranoid delusions. And is like up on her roof and shit. And like has night vision goggles. Like it kind of reminded me of just like this woman just like stalking through the woods.
Yeah, now that you mention it. But yeah, I was gonna bring up. Is there anything ageist about this film? I haven't seen anything about that. I'm not saying there's like a discourse or anything. It's just a thought that I had throughout like, multiple times.
No, in fact, I think it like does the opposite.
To me, it's just like I see how it would do the opposite, because like what we were just talking about with the agility and the fact that she is the big bad of this movie and all that. But like so much of the visual horror comes from the old age body, right?
But here's the thing. I think it's meant to provoke.
Okay.
Right? So it's meant to be like, oh, you find this creepy? Examine yourself. Why do you find the old woman body creepy?
Yeah.
It's just a human body.
And it's also a reminder that everybody ends up there. I guess if they're lucky enough to live that long.
Like think about the scene before the first kill where she's like, interrogating the boy. She's like, why won't you look at me?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
I think it's trying to do that. But I will say she's fucking gross.
Yes. But he's not a real old person. It's a person in makeup and costume.
Yeah, but even so, if it were real.
No, the one where she gets in, like the whole scene of her getting into bed, really, man.
Oh yeah.
It's effective.
Oh, yeah.
It's, it's really good.
Yeah. It did kind of give me some like Johnny Knoxville though.
Oh, did it?
Where he puts in the grandpa suit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Very different tone.
Sure, yeah.
But yes. Now the bad grandpa goes and jumps in a lake with alligators.
Yeah. They do that, though. They do that.
But yeah, I will check out Pearl when that comes out. I'm assuming it's in the next few months if there's been a trailer already.
Really? That soon?
Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, this movie was a hit by all accounts. I mean, I think it premiered at South by Southwest. So if they filmed it fairly close after, and they still have the momentum of this movie, why not, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Huh.
Yeah, I really hate the term the Thai West cinematic universe, though. I never want to hear anything mentioned as a cinematic universe ever again.
Why can't we just have sequels? And
I know. I don't think he was using that himself, but the IndieWire piece that was talking about the trailer was they even like abbreviated it as like the TWCU or whatever.
Oh yeah, that'll catch on.
Oh, and Brittany Snow's very good. I love the Fleetwood Mac cover.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I forgot it was Kid Cudi in this. And then I was looking back like half an hour later in the movie, and I was like, why did they do that? Why did they have a song in the middle of the movie?
Well, Brittany Snow's, isn't she in like those musicals? Like she sings as well. Yeah, I was like,
oh wait, they had two singers in this goddamn movie.
Yeah, two singers.
Because I kept getting Brittany Snow confused with the blonde girl from Search Party.
Okay.
Because they look identical.
Not even close.
What do you mean? What?
I don't think so.
Really?
You're talking about like the blonde girl who's in like the main group in Search Party. Yeah. No, I don't see that.
What?
I don't see that.
Okay. Hold on. This is gonna get cut, but
sure.
Meredith Hagner. Okay. Brittany Snow. This is pretty damn close.
Nah, they just have symmetrical faces. They're conventionally attractive
to each other.
No, I don't see it.
Oh, come on.
I really don't see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is hers a redhead, too. I should have got a blonder one.
I mean, I guess. I don't think that would have made a difference. Are you sending a blonde one now?
Yep.
Well, that photo.
See?
Because the hair's tied back.
See?
That photo is a bit, yeah. I can see how you would think that if you put these two side by side, for sure.
Oh, my God.
So, is there more?
Anyway.
Okay.
What? No. I think I've proven my point.
Also, Mia Goth is definitely a sex symbol.
Oh yeah.
I can say that because nobody's listening, as we established.
I had to Wikipedia. So she's married to Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
ah.
Yeah, isn't that unfortunate? They got a kid.
Oh.
Yeah, isn't that unfortunate?
It is. It is. I try not to judge anybody for who their partner is. Like
she was in the Suspiria remake.
Yeah.
So she did a Tilda Swinton.
Yeah. Maybe
For
they took
Suspiria.
inspiration from that directly.
Suspiria remake. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's got the Shia LaBeouf thing going on.
What's the timeline there? Because wasn't like he accused of like
It's current. It's current. So let's see.
Wait, wasn't he abusive towards his like co-star in that movie that he made just like a couple years ago?
Met Shia LaBeouf while co-starring in Nymphomaniac in 2012.
Oh, that's a long time ago.
Got engaged or appeared to get married October 2016. Officiated by an Elvis impersonator in Vegas. 2 days later, official claimed that the pair were not legally married. Later that month, LaBeouf confirmed their nuptials on the Ellen DeGeneres show.
Oh, Jesus.
In September 2018, it was announced the couple had separated and filed for divorce.
Oh, okay.
In February 2022, it was reported that Goth was pregnant with their first child. In March 2022, Goth gave birth to their first child.
Oh, so they're separated.
She got pregnant with his kid this year.
But they're separated?
Apparently not enough.
I don't know. I don't really care either what their situation is, but...
And when did he beat up that girl? Let's see. Legal issues.
I want to say 2018, 2019.
2020, he was sued by his ex-girlfriend.
FKA Twigs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sexual assault, battery, and emotional distress.
Yeah, so he did that while they were making his movie about his abusive father.
That's fun.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously any context is awful, but like...
I could have sworn he did it a few years earlier.
Oh, maybe. It might have been.
Well, I guess that's when she sued.
Okay.
By the way, that was, I guess, in the gap when he was not married to Mia Goth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, apparently he has PTSD. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess
that's
from the
all.
aforementioned abusive father.
Sure. That's all fun. It's all good.
That he played in the movie.
Oh, that's...
I should keep adding on to this.
Okay.
I don't recommend it.
In the movie,
yeah,
did he beat a child version of himself?
He was definitely cruel towards the child version of himself. I don't know if he actually like physically beat him up on camera. He might have.
Huh.
But yeah, essentially, that's what the movie was. He was playing his father, and there was a child version of himself, and it was a shitty relationship.
Huh. You know, he was in the movie Holes.
I do know that. And a movie about like him looking out a window the entire time that I feel like was called Suspiria, but I'm obviously not correct about that.
He was just looking out the window the whole time?
Yeah, what is that? What was that movie called? I'm gonna look it up because I feel like it's similar to Suspiria in name, but
certainly not in content.
No, certainly not in that. Yeah, this is just what I want to be doing, is looking up Shia LaBeouf's IMDb. This isn't even in like the top movies here.
Sure. I mean, you got the Transformers, you got Holes, you got Nymphomaniac.
Yeah.
You got
now I have to like hold on.
I guess that's it. let me do a control
Transformers
Shift T and get back the Shia LaBeouf Wikipedia page. And Disturbia?
Disturbia, there we go.
All right, that was the movie where he was being a pervert out the window.
Was he the pervert, or was he spying on like a pervert?
According to this poster, he's got binoculars, so
I think he's like witnessing a neighbor like commit.
It says partially inspired by Rear Window. You don't say.
Oh boy, yeah.
You don't say.
From Hitchcock to Shia LaBeouf. Oh boy.
Spying on his neighbors, believing one of them is a possible serial killer.
That's right. I watched that when I was like, I don't know, 10.
A teenager who is placed on house arrest for assaulting his high school teacher.
Yes, has the ankle monitor and everything. What year was that?
2007.
Oh, so I was like 13.
It's all fun. Carrie-Anne Moss in this?
I couldn't tell you. I didn't know who that was back then.
Sure. How was it received?
Oh, I'm probably not good.
69% Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, nice.
Kids' Choice Awards. Favorite movie star.
Excuse me. Wait, are you making that up?
I am not.
Jesus Christ.
MTV Awards Best Kiss.
Oh yeah, right. He does do a little snooping on the girl next door, so to speak.
Sure. Teen Choice Awards movie thriller. Teen Choice Awards actor. Teen Choice Awards breakout male.
I remember I had a portable DVD player.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a DVD player with a screen, and so I got this.
I hate that we have to explain that.
Yeah,
that makes us really old.
And so I got the DVD of Not Suspiria from the library.
Sure.
Yeah. I also used to rip CDs from the library onto my PlayStation.
Yeah.
My PlayStation, for some reason. I think because I was at my grandparents and I had my PlayStation with me, and they had a very vast CD collection at that library. I got a lot of the Saves the Day albums.
Yeah. We're hitting them all, aren't we?
a lot of fun people.
We're hitting them all.
Yeah, I think it's time to end the show.
It probably is. Thank you so much for listening. If you've made it through the gauntlet that we've laid before you, the perilous set of traps that we have laid before you. Really do appreciate it.
I was gonna bring up the Matt Gaetz thing.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
No, he body shamed this teenager.
Oh, that's fun. That's what you want to do.
But this teenager turned it around on him by going viral and raising like $1 million over the past couple days for abortion funds.
Oh.
So I thought that was really fun.
Nice.
Had a great result there.
Yeah,
I've been following that on Twitter.
Sure. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at DeadEndRoad. Check out the Facebook at facebook.com/DeadEndRoadTV, twitch.tv/DeadEndRoadTV. We'll be doing another live show in August. Date TBD. Gotta figure out which Friday that's gonna be. Maybe do YouTube search for DeadEndRoad TV, where you can check out the VOD of last live show. It's finally up there and free of all copyright. Except for the Northman, but I left that one up. You could email us anything at all, your thoughts on Shia LaBeouf's
his filmography,
many adventures,
his standing in Hollywood.
Video at deadendroad.co. Yeah, that's gonna do it for us. We have been here too long. We will see you next week.